Hi besties, welcome back to my channel, and today we're doing this weird low angle because my tripod is not in here and I have made the executive decision that bringing it in here would in fact actually be too much work right now for me. So we're dealing with this. Hi, how are you doing? I hope you're great. Before we get into it, subscribe if you want, like the video, drop a comment. Honestly, I can't really tell you what to do. I had this idea to do this video a long time ago. I wrote out questions, I prepared it, but I don't know what happened. Simply, it just slipped off for whatever reason. So I decided, why not do it? I always like the idea of having something I can go back to in a year, just so I can be like, wow, that was so different. Isn't the passage of time crazy? So that's what we're doing. This is not an original idea. I basically looked at Billie Eilish's Through the Years interviews and took some questions from that. Today is a weird day for me, mood-wise and mentally, so we're just gonna bear that in mind. I don't know why I've chosen to do it today, but listen, maybe that's good. Also, happy Pride Month, everybody. I can't believe we're already in June, so we're about to see a lot more rainbow company logos. Enjoy Pride Month. I hope you guys get to go to some parades, celebrate in some kind of way. Let me begin our journey through these questions. My name is Zagorski. That's the way most people pronounce it, but it's actually Zagorski. Today is the 1st of June, 2022. It still feels really weird that we're in 2022 for some reason. I feel like I'm finding it harder and harder every single year to adjust to the year change. I feel like it's before I even get adjusted to it, we're already in the next year. The biggest thing I've learned this year would probably be sometimes if you don't work on setting boundaries, no one else will do that for you. And although a lot of conversations are very difficult to have, in the long run, it's so much better if you just get over it and have them, get through the hard part, and then start moving on. Because if you don't have any of those hard conversations, guess what? Nothing changes and stuff stays the same, and a lot of the times things build up or just get worse. Basically, that's a lesson that I've learned, and I think it's a pretty universal lesson. I actually think that's a great advice for everybody. Have the hard conversations because they're worth having. Good question. Considering this time last year was when I was about to leave for Georgia from Ireland. So I would say right now in this moment, as opposed to that moment back then, that exact time, yes, I'm more confident just because that was a kind of a weird, turbulent in-between time in my life. I would say, yeah, in terms of that kind of stuff, yes. In terms of self-esteem and looking inwards, that kind of stuff, oh god, why do we gotta get deep? Why did I decide to do this video? Do I feel more confident? Yes and no, weirdly. Yes in certain ways, as in I feel like I'm more confident in communication and being clear about certain things, and I'm more confident to get through those hard conversations like I was talking about. And I know because I've also been doing a lot of introspection this year, good god, but not more confident because of all that introspection, having done all that, and the process of working through certain issues just takes a while. And of course, there's no simple answer with me, is there? There's just not no yes or no. Can you imagine if I just went, are you more confident than last year? Yes. And then we moved on to another question. That would be so boring. You literally would not watch. Or maybe you would. Maybe if I took off my shirt, which I'm looking good lately, I gotta tell you. Maybe you can use this for a thumbnail, huh? Give the people what they want. Maybe they'll click on it. Is there anybody on earth that doesn't feel pressure? Do I feel pressure? Yes, of course. I feel like the most pressure that I feel comes from myself. I feel like there's a level of pressure that comes from the outside world always, just because we don't live in solitude. There's people all around us. There's media that's constantly being thrown at us. There's messages that are currently being thrown at us, whether we realize it or not. So you feel, some level of pressure to, act a certain way, say certain things, do certain things, whatever. I think it's hard to have a good relationship with that and not constantly strive for some specific image of what you should be like, rather than just accepting who you are. So, you know, I'm still working through that. I think most of us are. I think I'm pretty good at understanding what I expect from myself and what would make me happy as a person. But of course, I'm sure that some of that is still influenced by the outside world, and there's some level of pressure still. So yes, that kind of pressure. And then also the pressure that I put on myself, right? You know, and I think that's the big one that I deal with, because I put a lot of pressure on myself. I always feel like I've got to be the perfect friend. I've got to be the perfect boyfriend. I've got to be like perfect at what I do, right? Like there's this standard that I set for myself that is so much higher than the standard I set for other people. You know, other people are allowed to be like at this like normal level, right? You know, maybe if they're close to me, maybe I'll, you know, have a higher standard because I understand that they can do better. But then the standard that I have for myself is just like, if they're here, like I'm not even here, like I'd have to stand up and like be on my tiptoes and like maybe have heels on to like reach to where I set my standards. And that's something that's really, really difficult to work through, you know, when you tie like some self-worth to how well you can achieve those standards that you set for yourself. And when you're not able to consistently achieve those standards, which nobody can, newsflash, and then you feel really shitty about yourself. So, you know, that pressure, I think, is the bigger issue for me. And it's really difficult knowing how to work through that, honestly. So for this, I feel like, I hope that through my life, if I continue to do this and look back on, that my answer would remain relatively the same. And that would be that I try not to have any regrets, or at least I try not to dwell on the past too much and thinking about, oh, I should have done this, I should have done this. Simply because, well, one, I can't change those things. And two, it's because if you did change those things, you then have to begin to wonder what else that would influence in your life. And then you have to think about what are the things that you'd be willing to lose or miss out on if that had been your reality. It's kind of a waste of time to spend my time thinking of things that I regret. Do things right now that ensure that you will not regret this period of your time. So this is the problem with me. Yet another one. God, what is this? Therapy with Daniel? I struggle to say the phrase, my life is great. It's very hard for me to literally even physically get it out. And that is because my brain likes to focus on the current lack and the next thing. And it's something that I know that's not good, right? It's something that needs to be worked on. But when it's tied to some other things, it makes it more complicated. What I mean is like, there's many things in my life currently that are amazing. They're great, fantastic. But my brain consistently tries to, I don't know if sabotage them is the right word, but it thinks of the worst case scenarios, right? So it's like, if I have this great, amazing thing right now in my life, and it's something that I can feel myself really beginning to care about, you know, on a deep level and really valuing, well, that's scary, right? Because now, in order to protect myself, my brain is going to think of every single way that I could lose this thing. And at any tiny indication that I might be losing this thing, it makes me go a little crazy. It puts me in like a bad mood where I consciously really have to sit there and reason with myself as to why what I'm feeling is irrational. It's really difficult to do that though. And especially when it happens so often, right? It's really exhausting. So to answer, how do I feel about life? I recognize that there's so many good things about it, and there's a growing number of good things about it, and I try really, 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 really hard to appreciate them, and I work every day to try and be more and more grateful for them every single day. But it is exhausting at times, and it is hard, and I'm trying to figure out ways to make that feel more natural and easier. Me, a year from now, I would say, please remember to live in the moment. Let the moment be what it is as well. If you're having a moment or a situation or something that is happy, that makes you feel happy, let it be that. Don't get in your way of experiencing the happy things by expecting the bad things to happen. Sorry if that's too deep. Honestly, all it is just like stay in the moment. And there will be hard moments, and stay in those too, because I feel like there's a benefit to connecting when that happens. And I feel like as painful as it feels at the time, it brings you and whoever else you're going through with it closer. Learn how to feel happy more naturally. My hope is that you now, a year from now, have figured out how to make happy feel natural. So there you go. Gonna leave it at that before we get too sappy. Jesus fucking Christ. For many years now, I definitely would have said 3 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri. I feel like it's time to switch it up because that movie's been out for a good few years now. I still love it, absolutely. But I think for now, I'm going to say that my new favorite movie is Coda. It's a very, very good movie. If you haven't seen it yet, just go see it. In the past year, I've had so many amazing things happen. I've had so many highlights. It would be impossible for me to sit here and like list everything great that has happened because there's just been so many great things, so many great little things, and so many great bigger things. Like, it's been a great year. This past year definitely was the best year of my life so far. Yeah, I can't sit here and list every highlight. I mean, I'll list some, like going up to Tahoe and like exploring more of California and LA, and getting to go to Texas and Las Vegas and New York twice. And, you know, even going to Georgia as well. That was a cool experience. You know, even Rome, London. You know, there's been so many great things. You know, going to the SAG Awards was a meeting Kid Cudi, going to some concerts, Harry's House pop-ups. Like, there's just been so many awesome, cool things that, you know, I never imagined I'd be able to do. Yeah, it's been a good year. I would say there's 3 things, right? One thing being me continuing to be there for myself, like, you know, working through my shit and like valuing myself. Number 2 is being good to the people closest to me, being there for them. 3 is continuing to work towards my goals, not letting opportunities pass me by, and when I know how to move forwards rather than letting opportunities pass me by. So those 3 things. Honestly, any technology blows my mind. Like, don't ask me how anything works. I'm not an engineer. Like, an AC unit, how does the air get pushed out? How do cables work? How does electricity travel? How does a socket work? Like, I'm quite smart, I'll have you know. Just not when it comes to explaining tech stuff. I'll leave that shit to my brother. He's doing software engineering. Like, what even is that? I would say, without a doubt, Harry Styles. And if you follow me on any of my social media, including Instagram, Twitter, or TikTok, you'd know that. Harry's new album, fantastic. It's so great for this period of my life, for that album to exist. I'm going to see Harry in October, and I'm excited. I'm very, very, very excited. I'm very excited about that. Harry is top currently. I also have Kid Cudi and Tame Impala, so, you know, I'd have to mention those. Rufus Du Sol as well, who I'm also going to see. So yeah, Harry. Hannah and Duncan. Moving on. I feel like every single year brings with it a new set of experiences, right? If you're experiencing something that's technically the same, like, for example, if like a relationship, say you've been in a relationship before and you get into a new relationship, you've done a relationship before, but it's still new because it's a different person, it's different circumstances. So every single year brings something new with it. And it's kind of hard to predict what it's going to be, right? So I don't know. I'm excited. I know that it's likely that there's going to be a lot of changes again, which is exciting and scary. Very scary, to be honest. But, you know, we're doing it. So I'll keep you all updated on those new experiences. I guess one of the scariest things I've ever done has probably been, you know, making certain decisions to like move forwards in my life and like maybe giving up a conventional job in favor of doing what I love to do, what I'm passionate about, and what feels like passion to me and not like work, you know what I mean? You know, it's nice and safe and stable to have like a conventional job or whatever, but it's also draining and soul-sucking, so There's so many things that bring me joy, and this is something that I really need to work on, and I need to figure out how to tap into those feelings and like allow myself to feel them more often. But there's so many things that I love doing. You know, I love hiking. Sunsets in LA are crazy. I love driving. I love swimming. Like physical activity. Any physical activity, I love. I like playing the keyboard. That's been fun recently. Love making TikToks. I love acting, telling stories, writing stories. Like there's so many things that I love doing. So all of those, and probably also many things that I haven't found yet that will bring me joy. On a superficial level, one thing that can make you feel powerful is clothes. So if you know you look good, or if you're wearing an outfit that you're confident in, it's great. It can make you feel pretty good about yourself. And on a less superficial level, I think what makes me feel powerful is when I'm able to achieve goals I set for myself, and when other people around me that are close to me recognize those achievements and feel proud of me and feel like I am reaching my potential, if that makes sense. So that is a very good feeling, and that makes me feel powerful. I always wonder, with each passing year, I'm like, when do you start to feel like an adult? At what point does your brain make the switch and then think, oh yes, I am grown up? I used to be like, oh, I thought like, oh, if I know how to drive and I drive a car, I'm gonna feel grown up, right? Because only grown-ups drive cars, right? But then I learned how to drive a car, and now I drive a car and I don't feel grown up. So I'm like, is it maybe when you become a parent? Is that when the switch happens and you feel grown up? So I don't know. I don't think I feel grown up. I feel more grown. I feel more mature than I was before. But grown up, I don't know about that. Yeah, I think I'll leave you on that note. Hope you guys enjoyed. You know, maybe do a little bit of your own self-reflection. Maybe write down your answers or something. Seal it in an envelope. Come back to a year from now or something. I think it's a cool exercise to be able to kind of look back and see where your mind was at. I hope you found this somewhat entertaining. I hope you're doing great. Truly, honestly. And I hope you have a great day. Have a great life. Bye-bye.